Hello, 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 all you lovely people. Professor Gray here, congratulating you on making it through the first unit of the course. What is ethics? I hope you know how you might start answering that question now. Again, it's a journey, and that's just the first step of the journey. I hope you're still in one piece. Unfortunately, there is no rest ever for us. So now we must move into the second unit of the course about on what is morality grounded. This is a pretty, I hope, interesting topic in meta-ethics. Recall meta-ethics is just focused on analyzing what claims in ethics mean and how claims in ethics are justified. Again, what do our ethical claims mean? What do we mean when we say something's right or something's wrong? And then how do we justify those claims to others? Because again, we've seen through moral reasoning, people can always ask, and I asked you a question about moral reasoning. Oh, I know, I'm evil. But we can always ask, how are these things justified? When I say something's right or wrong, how are we justifying these? What counts as a good justification or a bad justification? There's going to be a lot of interesting answers to these questions in this second unit about, on what is morality grounded? What's it all about? And so we'll start this week by looking at moral relativism. Now, spoiler alert, we are going to see that moral relativism has some serious problems in its different forms. Indeed, most philosophers probably aren't too comfortable with moral relativism for a variety of reasons we'll see by the end of the week. Now, what is moral relativism? So I'll just give a standard definition. I think that moral relativism is the meta-ethical claim that there are no objective and universal moral values, norms, and principles applying to all people everywhere. So morality depends on or is relative to either cultural or individual acceptance. I'll just say that again. Again, moral relativism, it's a meta-ethical claim. No objective or universal moral norms, principles, or values that apply to everyone everywhere. No, morality depends upon, is relative to either cultural or individual acceptance. And so this means there are two main forms of moral relativism. So it has a few different shapes it comes in. So in this module, we'll be talking about cultural relativism. Now, cultural relativism is, again, a meta-ethical claim that morality is a matter of social and cultural acceptance because morality is solely determined by the customs and laws of one's own society and culture. And so it's pretty clear. So that's the nature of morality there. It's based on one's society, the norms and culture that one finds oneself in. And that's where morality is ultimately found. And then that leads to maybe a pretty easy way for how moral justification works, because it just says you should be doing whatever your society says you should be doing, whether that's through culture or laws. And so that's cultural relativism. It's all relative to one's society or culture, what that says about morality. That's one form of moral relativism. Now, there is a second form of moral relativism that we'll talk about in the next module. That's ethical subjectivism. And now what ethical subjectivism says, now again, this is a meta-ethical claim that morality is a matter of individual acceptance because morality is solely determined by one's own personal reactions and feelings. And like I said, we'll talk about, this morality based on one's feelings and individuality and personal acceptance. We'll talk about that in the next module. But again, what these things have in common is that they're moral relativism. They're saying morality is relative to something, either your society, and that's cultural relativism, or morality is relative to your individual acceptance and your individual feelings. That's known as ethical subjectivism. So we'll do the cultural one in this module, and we'll do the subjective individual one next module. And so for this module then on cultural relativism, I'll be showing you a quick BBC video. Again, it's a cute little, I like these cute little, I wish I had all these animations and stuff. It's really neat. Just a little kind of introduction to the idea of moral relativism and especially, again, cultural relativism especially. And some problems already the video starts to introduce that we will flesh out afterwards. So watch that video and you'll see, even though it does say moral relativism, it's really talking about cultural relativism. No, why am I doing this? I don't even know. After that little video from the BBC, I'll come back and then I'll talk to you a bit. The first thing I'll talk to you about is just some useful distinctions, a little bit of jargon, if you will, but I think this will help us kind of clarify what is going on with cultural relativism. After that video, I will then have another video that will talk about Ruth Benedict's article and how this is an example of what we might call the cultural differences argument for justifying cultural relativism. She is definitely a cultural relativist, as you will see. However, in that video, I'll explain that argument and then reveal that it does have a serious flaw. We'll see. I won't spoil it now. It has a serious flaw. Okay, so in my final video, though, I'll say then there might be other reasons to reject it. So what am I saying here? So there's going to be 3 videos after the BBC. One, I'm going to introduce some distinctions that help clarify what we mean by cultural relativism. Then I'll have a video after that I'll talk about Ruth Benedict's article, how her argument supports cultural relativism. And in that same video, I'll talk about why Rachels think her argument is wrong. However, just because her argument is wrong, that doesn't mean we should just give up cultural relativism. Maybe there's other arguments out there that are better. That's why in the final video, I'll present some reasons why we just might not want to accept cultural relativism, period. That there just might be some big problems with it as a theory, and that might be sufficient to just reject it. So we'll cover all that. So, all right, I'll send you off to the BBC. Say hi to Dr. Warburton. He's the narrator. I love his accent. It's very calming. He has a great podcast, too, called Philosophy Bites, if you're curious. Anyway, say hi to Dr. Warburton for me, Nigel to his friends, and then I'll see you back here. I'm not his friend. See you back here in a few.